King Charles and Prince William made a rare joint appearance at a climate summit in London recently, but it's not their united front that's making headlines. Photos of the 76-year-old king, looking frail and thin, have royal insiders worried about his health. Tom Sykes of the Daily Beast was among the first to alert royal watchers, writing that he was horrified by the photos from October 9th, adding, "It's impossible to look at these images without seeing how much King Charles's health has declined. The man's suit is falling off him." Rob Shooter, former executive editor of OK magazine, reported a similar reaction in his Shooter Scoop Substack, quoting another insider who observed, "His suit was hanging off him. He looked like a man fighting something bigger than he's letting on." Official word from Buckingham Palace is that the king is doing well as he continues light duties following his cancer diagnosis in February 2024. At a hospital ribbon cutting in September, the king told a fellow cancer patient, "I'm not too bad," and William, appearing on Apple TV's The Reluctant Traveller, offered another vague update.
Everything's progressing in the right way, which is all good news.
But the heir to the throne has been picking up more of the royal burden lately, including plans to attend the next climate summit in Brazil solo. And one royal courtier tells Shooter that the awful optics of the king's latest public appearance have pushed things into overdrive behind the scenes. They revealed they're quietly preparing William to step up fast. The illusion of perfect health is collapsing. Charles turns 77 in November, so it's widely known that preparations for William to become king have been underway for quite some time, even before the king's cancer diagnosis.
How are you feeling?
Royal author Tom Quinn told Harper's he's the oldest Prince of Wales to become king in history, so succession planning had begun before Charles came to the throne simply because of the age issue. But insiders insist that images like these, showing the king looking paler and thinner than in recent months, have the palace in a panic. Another source told Shooter, "You can't Photoshop frailty. What we're seeing is the reality behind the crown, a monarch in decline." For royal watchers following the king's health journey, this latest batch of photos isn't too surprising. In August, insiders told Radar Online that the monarch's health has deteriorated significantly in recent months, with one source claiming that Charles is very frail and knows the end is coming, among other sordid details. They added, he is now shuffling around with a cane and hitting the bottle, and in particular whiskey, to numb the pain and despair he feels. This stands in stark contrast to official statements about the king's health. And while there's no chatter from insiders about Charles's abdicating the throne, meaning voluntarily giving up his kingship, it does appear that each new appearance from the king will place him under increasing scrutiny and pressure to look fit enough to wear the crown.
The British sovereign is the center of the United Kingdom. What happens when the monarch passes away? The effects spread wide, but it all starts with other members of the royal family.
There's no doubt that the new monarchs of the United Kingdom are in their twilight years, so speculation has run rampant about what happens when they die. In the case of King Charles' death, the title change of the Queen is clear. Queen Camilla officially took on the title of Queen Consort after Queen Elizabeth II passed away in September 2022. On the day of her Platinum Jubilee, Queen Elizabeth had given Camilla her blessing to take on the royal title.
Queen Elizabeth says she wants Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, to be known as Queen Consort when Prince Charles becomes king.
According to 17, while Charles' wife is referred to as Queen Camilla, she continues to officially hold the title of Queen Consort, which signifies that she does not have any of her husband's sovereignty, nor does she share any of his political or military authority. Now, many royal fans have been left curious about what would happen to Queen Camilla's royal title and what her place would be in the monarchy if King Charles were to pass away first. If King Charles were to pass away before Queen Camilla, she would take on the title of Queen Dowager Camilla. Queen Dowager is the official name that is given to widows of late kings. Queen Camilla wouldn't be able to receive the role of sovereign, as anyone who is not related to the royal family by blood isn't named in the royal line of succession, and therefore cannot inherit the role.
Zara Tindall, a princess. Rumours are swirling that the famous equestrian could be gearing up for her biggest job yet, a working royal. Although she's Queen Elizabeth II's eldest granddaughter, Zara Tindall has never been a working royal herself. Despite that, some royal experts have hinted that when King Charles III passes and Prince William becomes king, she might just take up a more active role within the firm. Charles's desire for a slimmed-down monarchy has been spoken about for decades at this point, but when his and Princess Catherine's dual cancer diagnoses were announced in early 2024, the cracks in that plan were just too great to ignore.
It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family.
In an appearance on Sky News Australia, commentator Angela Mollard pointed out that it was a problem that there were no young royals who could help pick up the slack. With that in mind, she mused that it might not be a bad idea for Zara to be brought into the fold. After all, Mollard explained, the relationship between Zara and William has always been a strong one. In addition to the cousins being close, though, there was another reason Mollard believed she would be a great pick. She would be his Princess Anne, as Princess Anne is to the king when he becomes king. It bears mentioning that in July 2024, there were actually murmurs that Charles felt the same way. Insiders told New Idea, there's talk that niece Zara Tindall, 43, who is very close to her uncle, might become more involved in this side of things, and that Charles is keen to support such an interest by bestowing her the title of princess. A bold claim, given his aforementioned enthusiasm for a slimmed-down monarchy, but perhaps his health woes forced him to see things differently. Even if Charles and William are on board with the idea of Zara becoming a working royal, there's a possibility she might not be too keen on the idea herself. After all, in a joint interview with her husband, Mike Tindall, on BBC's Rob Burrows' 7 Meets, Zara revealed that she was pretty happy to have been raised sans royal responsibilities.
From my point of view, I was obviously very lucky that my mother didn't give us any titles.
As for Anne, she's spoken about that decision too. In a 2020 interview with Vanity Fair, she explained that the real reason her children don't have titles is because she wanted them to have normal experiences growing up. She told the publication, "I think it was probably easier for them, and I think most people would argue that there are downsides to having titles, so I think that was probably the right thing to do." Not long after that, Anne shared similar sentiments in an interview with Now to Love. Speaking of her rationale at the time she decided to veto the idea of Prince Peter and Princess Zara, she noted, "I think even then it was easy to see that it was a very mixed blessing to have a title." Another reason Anne's daughter is unlikely to become a working royal? While being a working royal certainly sounds luxe, it would require Zara to give up a big part of how she makes a living today, sponsorships, which are a major no-no for senior and working royals. Having said that, in her interview on Rob Burrows' 7 Meets, Zara did speak to her family's famous work ethic.
My family has a great work ethic as well, which I'm hoping that they instilled in me.
With that in mind, we wouldn't be surprised if she made a point of supporting her cousin when he eventually exceeds the throne, just in a less official capacity. After all, despite being non-working royals, both she and Mike Tindall have made appearances at royal events in the past. So, what will happen to Zara when William becomes king? Time will tell.
Many people wonder what Prince William's official title will be once he ascends to the throne, as it's more complicated than just King William. First of all, when someone becomes king or queen, they basically have the power to change their name to whatever they want, according to Town and Country. Queen Elizabeth's father was named Albert, but when he became king, he decided to go by King George. Prince William's name prior to becoming king is already a mouthful. According to Britannica, it's William Arthur Philip Lewis, Duke of Cambridge, Earl of Strathearn, and Baron Carrickfergus, so whatever he chooses to go by will hopefully be a little less complicated. The entire world was pretty obsessed with the royal family when Prince William got engaged to his future bride, Kate Middleton. After all, Middleton wasn't a member of any royal family, and the two had quite the love story. In fact, Middleton was the very definition of a modern-day Cinderella story, and when she and Prince William got married, she actually became the Duchess of Cambridge, a pretty impressive title. However, when Prince William becomes king one day, Middleton will no longer be the Duchess of Cambridge, and she also won't be referred to as Kate at all. Once her husband ascends to the throne and chooses his own title, Middleton will also change her title. It's unclear whether or not Middleton will get to choose her title like Prince William will, but according to Town and Country, she'll likely go by Queen Catherine, quite the dignified name if there ever was one. The specific duties of the royal family obviously vary from person to person, but pretty much all of its members have to travel far more often than the average person. Whether on official duty or to make appearances with other state officials, the royals spend plenty of time on planes. And when Prince William becomes king in the future, not only will he likely travel so much more than he does as a mere prince, but he'll also be able to pack just a little lighter. In fact, according to Express, whoever is the king or queen doesn't need a passport to travel to other countries. Interestingly enough, Kate Middleton will still need a passport, and William will likely have to answer certain security questions before taking off. Still, it's one less thing for the future king to worry about. Let's just get one thing straight. Prince William and Kate Middleton definitely don't live in a tiny shack in England. In fact, after they got married, the pair moved into an apartment at Kensington Palace. However, once Prince William becomes king, their residence will change. Obviously, they'll still live in a palace, but their upgrade will be a lot bigger and a whole lot more prestigious. In fact, ever since Queen Victoria's reign, the British monarchs have all lived in Buckingham Palace in London. Much like the King or Queen of England doesn't hold a lot of political authority throughout Britain, they also don't have a ton of authority, period. Well, at least when it comes to laws. You see, while the kings and queens of Britain's past could certainly make laws and govern over the nation, the modern monarchy of England is more symbolic than anything else. When Prince William becomes king, he can't make any new laws on his own. Specifically, according to the Royal UK website, the King or Queen of Britain is the head of state, and in that instance is what's known as a constitutional monarchy. Basically, even though the King or Queen might be known as the head of state, the only way legislation is created and passed is within Parliament, the members of which have elected positions. So when William is king, he won't just be able to create new laws without the help of Parliament, despite being the literal King of England and pretty much getting anything else he might want.
I am the king!
Being a member of the royal family doesn't come cheap, and keeping up with the Cambridges is a hefty task. After all, it must cost a lot to buy all the proper clothes and shoes, as well as attend the best private schools and colleges. But obviously, Prince William doesn't really have to worry about that. According to Town & Country, William is worth an estimated $40 million, and his income has only grown over the years. However, once William becomes king, he and Kate Middleton will see an even bigger increase to their wealth. According to Cafe Mom, the king receives a paycheck from the Duchy of Lancaster of around $20 million, but that's not all. William will also get any inheritance from his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, and his father, Prince Charles, by the time he's king. So basically, William will be swimming in cash once his coronation rolls around. While Prince William still won't be able to create laws or change too much when he becomes King of England, one thing he will be able to do is possibly appoint a new Prime Minister. Really, it's complicated, but the King or Queen is pretty involved with the Prime Minister, which makes sense as they're both important figures in Britain. But as it stands, this important royal duty is only executed under certain circumstances. Specifically, according to the Royal UK website, the King or Queen appoints the Prime Minister when necessary, as well as meets with them on official business whenever it's required. So when William takes over the duties of King of England, he may also appoint a new Prime Minister, which would be a pretty big deal. That's just one more way in which his life will be different after his coronation.
It's probably not a stretch to assume that Prince William isn't very pleased about some of the things his brother has said about him.
As brothers, you have good days, you have bad days.
In his memoir, Spare, Prince Harry alleged that William laughed at his panic attacks, called Meghan Markle rude, and even physically assaulted him. And sure, brothers squabble, but this feels like something different, and so it's fair to say Harry probably won't play a key role in William's monarchy. Still, bad blood isn't the only reason Harry could be left by the wayside. William is known to favour the idea of a slimmed-down royal structure, which means his reign could prioritise those actively involved in public duties. Among other things, this can have an impact on what royals are allowed to call themselves. King Charles III and Queen Elizabeth II each had the power to issue and revoke royal titles at their own discretion, and they weren't afraid to use it. Take Prince Andrew, for example, a man now most famous for, well, this.
I simply, it was almost impossible for me to sweat.
When Prince Andrew was accused of sexual abuse by Jeffrey Epstein victim Virginia Giuffre, Queen Elizabeth took away his honorary military roles and required him to stop using the title of His Royal Highness. Of course, it's worth remembering that Harry and Meghan don't use that title anymore either, and it would be a bit of a shock for William to remove their remaining titles when he becomes king. But you shouldn't expect to see the Sussexes showered with honorary titles either, especially if William's vision for a more modern monarchy finally comes to pass. So, Harry and Meghan probably won't score any fancy titles out of William's monarchy. They're unlikely to receive financial support either, considering they don't get any under King Charles. Don't get out that tiny violin just yet though, because the Sussexes have been able to make a fair bit of bank in other ways since 2020. Their $1 million Netflix deal, for example, or the books they've each written and published. When William becomes king, Harry and Meghan may well continue down this line, releasing books, documentaries, series, or podcasts about the issues they care about. Keynote speeches have also been a lucrative activity for the couple. Back in 2020, they signed with the Harry Walker Agency, and the Sunday Times reported that they could earn up to $1 million per speech. Harry also landed a job as the Chief Impact Officer at the coaching platform BetterUp, a job that the Mirror reports could pay as much as $2.5 million per year. And even if they don't receive a salary for it, they still both be directors of Archewell, the non-profit organisation named after their son, Archie. Heck, Meghan could even return to the world of acting. She had just wrapped her role as Rachel Zane on the hit TV show Suits in 2017 when she announced that she'd be leaving Tinseltown behind, but she assured her fans that she would not be giving anything up.
I just see it as a change.
It's a new challenge. It's a
new chapter.
Finally, the death of King Charles could also provide the Sussexes with more financial stability, as Harry is likely to receive a hefty inheritance from his late father. That, of course, will sit alongside the fortunes reportedly left to him by both Princess Diana and Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. Harry and Meghan's move to California brought them much closer to the Duchess's mother, Doria Ragland. Notably though, Ragland was the only member of Meghan's family who attended the couple's wedding in 2018, and it doesn't seem like a reconciliation with the other Markles is on the horizon either. Aside from living near the couple and reportedly helping to raise their children, Ragland has never spoken negatively about her daughter in public, which is more than can be said for Meghan's half-siblings, Samantha and Thomas Jr. Even if Samantha and Thomas do somehow reconcile with Meghan in the future, it seems unlikely that they will ever truly become close, given that their estrangement stems from both personal and public betrayals. The same can be said for Meghan's father. Not only has Thomas Markle made his grievances very public indeed, but he is also reportedly close to the end of his life. In 2024, Samantha told the Daily Mail that her father had suffered 2 heart attacks and a stroke. She said, "We don't know how long he has." Samantha also criticised Meghan for not reaching out at all after marrying Harry in 2018. She added, "Meghan has no idea what she is missing out on, because when my dad goes, it will be too late. Believe me, I know. You can't get back that time. It leaves a hole in your heart." This is all to say that, when William becomes king, the Sussexes may well find themselves isolated on both sides of their family, and it's likely that Meghan's mother will be their only reliable source of support. One reason William might be reluctant to bring his brother back into the fold is that it might be perceived as an acknowledgement of the Sussexes' many allegations. In case you've forgotten, these include racist remarks, physical attacks, and the claim that Queen Camilla is dangerous. So, would healing his relationship with his brother be worth a reputational nightmare for William? Considering the history between the two, probably not. The royals will be quite aware of past situations in which family drama nearly tanked the family's reputation. Edward VIII's marriage to Wallis Simpson nearly caused a constitutional crisis, and it was only his exile that allowed George VI to maintain any kind of stability. Similarly, Princess Diana's candidness about her divorce arguably changed the family's reputation forever.
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage. So it was a bit crowded.
Harry and Meghan now play a similar role. They're close enough to the royals to be able to disrupt the family's carefully curated image, and disgruntled enough to want to do so. Is it any wonder William might want to keep them at arm's length? Not only that, but Harry and Meghan are currently living the celebrity lifestyle. Hollywood deals, personal interviews, and Netflix shows galore, all of which clashes with the traditional duty-first ethos of the royal family. Aside from protecting their own reputation, keeping a safe distance from the Sussexes would communicate to the people that the royals are focused on their formal functions. These days, much of the royal family's behaviour is directed by public opinion. In 2024, a poll suggested that less than 30% of the British public favours the Sussexes, so it's no surprise that neither Charles and Camilla nor William and Catherine attended the christening of Princess Lilibet the year before, despite reports that they had all been invited. That's not to say this will never change, however. Prior to their departure announcement in 2019, the Sussexes enjoyed relatively high favourability ratings in the United Kingdom, so who's to say they won't be able to rehabilitate their image with time? After all, William will likely be king for 3 to 5 decades if he lives as long as his grandfather, and public sentiment toward Harry and Meghan and the monarchy might change during those years. Notably, Queen Camilla herself was hated and vilified in the 1990s for being Charles's other woman, but her image was slowly rehabilitated by the firm and the British media over time. By 2024, polls were showing that half of the British public viewed her favourably. The same thing could easily happen to Harry and Meghan under William's rule, in which case, a family reunion might be in William's best interests. Outreach attempts between the Sussexes and the rest of the royals could usher in a new era for the royal family, one led by the next generation. To understand how this might play out, we only need to look at William and Prince Harry's relationship with their cousins from Princess Diana's side of the family. Much in the same way that Harry has clashed with the rest of the Windsors, Diana's brother Charles Spencer once feuded with the future King Charles III. Because of the rift between the Spencer family and the British royals, William and Harry had little contact with their Spencer cousins. Making matters more complicated, several of Charles Spencer's children grew up overseas in South Africa. Yet both William and Harry have since reconnected with the other side of the family. Lady Kitty Spencer, for example, has collaborated with William on charity work, and she and her 3 siblings all attended Harry's wedding. Thus far, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis have had very little contact with their cousins, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. As we look towards William's future reign, though, it's possible that Archie and Lilibet will play a similarly supportive role in the lives of their royal cousins. There will be a limit to any kind of reconciliation between the Sussexes and the royals, however, and that limit lies not just with the royals, but also their staff. Reports indicate that some palace staff members are determined to get their revenge on Harry and Meghan. Many of the Sussexes' previous hires have reportedly found it nearly impossible to work with the couple. Some have even alleged that they needed therapy following their time with Harry and Meghan. While these claims are certainly shocking, they do echo reports from former palace aide Jason Cunarf, who claimed to have witnessed Meghan bully her staffers. Although it's impossible to know what really went down between the Duchess and her team, it's fair to say that there's plenty of bad blood between the Sussexes and staff who keep the firm running. In fact, there is so much negativity flowing between the warring parties that it's unlikely matters will be resolved before William becomes king, if they're ever resolved at all. Essentially, this means that, even in the best-case scenario, Harry and Meghan won't be moving back into any royal residences after William takes the throne. The palace staff probably wouldn't support such a move, and the Sussexes wouldn't enjoy living among those who have leaked gossip to the press. King Charles III may not be in the best health right now, but it's still hard to say when Prince William will become king. If Charles recovers, William won't wear the crown for many years, and this would arguably be the best scenario for the monarchy. Charles could enjoy a long and prosperous reign, allowing William even more time to prepare for his role. This would also mean that all the drama surrounding the Sussexes could lose relevance by the time William becomes king. As newsworthy as Harry and Meghan might have been since their 2018 wedding, they're expected to largely fade in importance over time. After all, this is what happened to Queen Elizabeth's spare children. While Prince Andrew, Prince Edward, and Princess Anne garnered a lot of attention around the time of their respective weddings, the public's interest in their lives waned as the years went on. Most royal fans found themselves way more drawn to the next generation of royals. In that case, King Charles III and his family. By the time William takes the throne, it's possible that Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis will be the focus of media and public scrutiny. Harry and Meghan, meanwhile, might find themselves sidelined, which, if nothing else, could make it easier for Harry and William to reconcile in relative privacy. Prince Louis and Princess Charlotte will be up for title changes when Prince William eventually becomes king. How many possibilities are there? More than you might think. From birth to September 2022, Charlotte and Louis, along with their older brother Prince George, were all known by the last name Cambridge. After the death of Queen Elizabeth II and the ascension of King Charles III, the 3 children got the new last name, Wales, when their parents, William and Catherine, became the new Prince and Princess of Wales. Since George is second in the royal line of succession, he has some additional title changes in his future. Royal expert Marlene Koenig told The Express, "Once their dad is Prince of Wales, they become George of Wales, Charlotte of Wales, Louis of Wales. Then when their dad is king, George will become Duke of Cornwall and then, of course, Prince of Wales." Dating back to 1337, the Duchy of Cornwall is a hereditary title that is bestowed on the eldest surviving son of the monarch and the heir to the throne. The Prince of Wales title is bestowed at the monarch's discretion. However, it is likely William will follow his grandmother's and father's footsteps and give the title to George. In contrast, future titles for George's younger siblings are less assured. Koenig told The Express that after William becomes monarch, Charlotte and Louis will be of nothing.
You're nothing to me now.
While the younger siblings may lose their Wales association, and they don't have any specific titles to inherit, there are some other bestowed titles that could be up for grabs in Charlotte and Louis's futures. Historically, female royals didn't have the ability to become a duchess unless they married a duke. Unfortunately, times have changed. Princess Charlotte is already ahead of Prince Louis in the line of succession because Queen Elizabeth advocated for the UK Parliament to revise the Succession to the Crown Act in 2013. Koenig explained in an interview with Hello, "Now with gender-equal succession, I think it would be more possible to grant a peerage to Charlotte. Prince Louis will get one when he marries, so it would only be fair if Charlotte was named a duchess on her wedding day." Besides getting a duchess title as a wedding gift, it's also possible that Charlotte will become Princess Royal one day, a title frequently given to the king's oldest daughter. Similar to the Prince of Wales, Princess Royal is not an inherited title, so Charlotte won't be eligible for it until her great-aunt, Princess Anne, dies and the title reverts back to the crown. In addition, Charlotte could also receive a special title from King Charles, Duchess of Edinburgh. The male version of this title was held for many years by Prince Philip. After Philip died in 2021, the title was inherited by Charles. In March 2023, Charles passed the title to Prince Edward, his youngest brother, with a new update that it would now be a bestowed title and not inheritable by Edward's descendants. When Prince Louis grows up, he'll likely become a duke. This practice has been a royal tradition, often in conjunction with a royal wedding. When Prince William got married, Queen Elizabeth gave her grandson and Kate Middleton the titles Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle married, she gifted them the titles Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The dukedom Louis ultimately receives will depend on which ones are available. Duke of York, a title currently held by Louis's great-uncle Prince Andrew, is historically given to the monarch's second son. However, like Princess Royal, this title is for life, so Louis won't be eligible for it until Andrew dies, and the title goes back to the crown. Like his dad, Louis could potentially be a future Duke of Cambridge, although the title could also go to his brother George, depending on when William becomes king. If Princess Charlotte doesn't receive the title Duchess of Edinburgh, it's possible Louis could become Duke of Edinburgh. Of course, there's also the possibility that Charlotte and Louis will forge their own path. Charlotte could reject her royal titles as a working adult, or both she and her brother could emulate Prince Edward and request ones of their own creation. When Prince Edward got married, he turned down the title Duke of Cambridge and requested the title Earl of Wessex, as a nod to the movie Shakespeare in Love.
Royal rules trump family feuds, which puts Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet in a bit of a weird position if their Uncle William takes the throne. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are, of course, on the outs with the palace and are no longer working royals. As for the pair's children, though, it's easy to wonder what exactly the death of their grandfather could mean for their roles and their future. Harry and Meghan's choice to leave their royal roles and move to the United States caused some bad blood between the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and the royal family. It also distanced their children from the royals. Despite his distance from the world of the royals, Prince Harry is still next in line after Louis. He is followed by his kids, Archie and then Lilibet. Harry's role in the line of succession is his birthright, and as such, it must remain as it is unless drastic steps are taken to remove it. Even so, the throne would need to be abdicated by William and all of his children, or they would all need to die before Harry in order for him to become king, which is, of course, unlikely. Consequently, the likelihood that Archie and Lilibet will ever take over the crown is even lower. They did, however, gain prince and princess titles when Charles took over as king. In 2023, a statement from the Sussex's spokesperson said, "The children's titles have been a birthright since their grandfather became monarch. This matter has been settled for some time in alignment with Buckingham Palace." Despite the family drama between Harry and Meghan and the rest of the royals, things seem to be less tense between Harry and King Charles than between Harry and Prince William. After all, Harry immediately visited Charles when he heard about his cancer diagnosis.
It's the first time he will have seen his father in any meaningful way, really since the Queen's funeral.
Yet a source told the Daily Beast that despite Harry's attempts, his brother and sister-in-law aren't particularly interested in welcoming him back into the fold just yet. The source said, "Catherine and William have been very clear they want peace and quiet for them and the kids. A visit from Harry with all the drama that would bring would be the opposite of that." Whether the Sussexes and their children will attend William's coronation or come back as the monarchy shifts remains to be seen. Even so, royal rules often seem to take precedence over the bad blood, which will likely affect Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet thanks to the Succession to the Crown Act. Royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams explained to Newsweek, "The first 6 in line to the throne must ask permission from the monarch before they marry." Archie and Lilibet will be 5th and 6th in line when William becomes king, so at some point they'd have to ask him if he's still on the throne when that time comes.